thought we'd switch up the background a little bit, change the angle ever so slightly of my room because, yeah, why not? It is Flo, and today I join you in my dressing gown. Rocket Raccoon, dressing gown, Guardians of the Galaxy. And yes, we're in pyjamas, but that's not important at the moment. What is important is the topic that I'm going to talk about now. I have put out a trigger warning here because I will be talking about self-harm, which is a topic that may be triggering some people, so if you find it triggering, please do not watch this video. I will link below resources, helplines, websites, other more conducive videos, and things that you can have a look at or use should you feel that is what you need at the current time, because your mental health is important and you deserve help. Another point I want to point out is that I am in no way an expert. I've had my own experience with mental health and self-harm, both first-hand and second-hand, and I'm also studying psychology at university, so I get both ends of the stick. So I know about this sort of stuff from an academic point of view and also from a personal point of view, but I'm in no way an expert. So yeah, go out, do your own research. Like I said, I will link below some websites that you can use that are hopefully helpful for both you if you're self-harming, or if you think that someone you know is self-harming. And the reason why I want to do this video is because, as I'm sure many of you are aware, there have been a couple of articles published recently stating that the amount of specifically young people, the number of them self-harming since the first lockdown that we had back in March has increased massively, which is absolutely heartbreaking to hear that people feel that they need to go to that extreme, I guess you could say, that they have lost all their other coping mechanisms and that they feel that this is the only option that they have for them. And I wanted to talk about three main things today, three important topics, and that is misconceptions about self-harm, warning signs that someone is self-harming, and like self-harm alternatives. So I wanted to kind of target both people who self-harm and people who think that someone they know is self-harming. So it will be a lengthy video, it will be a hefty video, but it's still very important. I still want you to stick with me and watch it. So I will do 3 of each, just to try and speed things up a little bit and not make this video too long, mainly for the sake of future me editing, but also for you, because I want to be to the point. Anyway, enough with my rambling, let's get on with the video. If I'm looking down here at all, I do have my notes down here, so yeah, so I thought I'd talk to you guys first about, oh sorry, that's the pen that makes it. Talk about self-harm misconceptions, because there's lots of stigma and stereotypes around self-harm and the kind of people that self-harm. So first of all, self-harm is first and foremost an addiction, just like drugs, just like alcohol, just like smoking, just like any other addictive substance that you can abuse or get addicted to, just like social media as well, and it should be treated as such. It's not a choice, it's not something that people do just because they feel like it, or just because their friends are doing it. It becomes an addiction. And it is a coping mechanism for all sorts of issues that people may have, and people do it for all sorts of different reasons. You know, they could do it because of lack of feeling, and they could do it because they're feeling too much, they could do it to punish themselves, they could do it to see blood, they could do it to, you know, the list goes on and on and on. And while a lot of people who do it don't want attention, hence why they cover up, hence why they try and hide it, some people do, but it's not like the, oh look at me, I'm a self-harmer kind of attention. It's I'm hurting, I want to get help, because particularly when it comes to things like mental health, when people go and seek help for their mental health, they often get turned away because there are no physical symptoms that you are hurting. So you can't go to the doctors and say, look, I have a broken leg, and they can do an x-ray, or they can physically see that this leg is broken. There isn't that. And you'll often find that a lot of people get turned away unless they're suicidal, unless they're self-harming, or unless the medical profession all can see something. So it is often a way of displaying their hurt and displaying the fact that they need and want help, whether that be a subconscious thing or a conscious thing that they do. But there are many more reasons, and I think that if someone is doing it because of that, they are just as valid as someone who's doing it for a completely different reason. And a lot of people do it because, you know, contrary to popular belief, a lot of self-harmers do not want to die. That is not why they are doing it. They are not. It's not an alternative to suicide. It's not that kind of thing. It's a coping mechanism. It starts off as a coping mechanism, and then it develops and spirals into an addiction, because when someone does it, it releases hormones in the brain, and the brain gets addicted to those hormones, and each time they do it, their brain needs more and more of those hormones to get that sense of relief that a person may feel when they do it. So they need to do it more dangerous every single time to get more of those hormones released. Some warning signs that someone is self-harming. Firstly, they often wear long sleeves. They often cover up. So you're, especially, you know, this is a little bit trickier to spot in the colder months, but particularly in the summer it's a lot easier to spot. So someone wearing jumpers all the time, so you've never seen them in t-shirts and you've never seen them in shorts, because not everyone self-harms on their arms. A lot of people self-harm, you know, on their arms or on their stomach or on their legs. Not everyone self-harms on their arms. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that, just because I don't want to give anyone ideas. But yeah, not everyone does it on their arms. So if you see someone wearing jumpers or long sleeve tops or trousers all the time, particularly in the summer, that's often a warning sign. I mean, that could just be all they have in their wardrobe, but you kind of need to put two and two together and make four, really. So put that with other signs, such as, you know, unexplained cuts, bruises, scars, that they just either don't have an explanation for. The explanation that they have doesn't add up, but you know what I mean. Or having their tools with them, so whether that be sharp objects or anything else that they may use to cause harm to themselves. Not everyone uses tools. There are many different types of self-harm, which I'm not going to go into. But having, you know, a very common one is having sharp objects with them, or having things that they could use that you know that can cause pain to someone if used incorrectly. And yeah, and lastly, I want to talk to you if you are self-harming. If you are self-harming, please reach out for help. Please talk to someone, whether that be, you know, a friend, a family member. Please, 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 because they may not understand, but they will support you. And if they don't, then keep reaching out to other people. I know it's hard, but there are so many other coping mechanisms than self-harm. It's a short-term benefit for a long-term consequence of scarring and all sorts of other issues. You know, it can lead to so many different issues. It can lead to infection, it can lead to disease, it can lead to scarring, you know, blood loss, and you know, all of those complicated things that you may not think about when you're doing it, when you're in the moment. And I've been there. I know what it's like. So I know that it's hard rut to get out of, but please, 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 you're so much more than this. And I'm going to give you just a couple of alternatives that I find helpful, so I don't feel like I'm in the place to talk about things that I haven't done. So these are three things I tend to do when I have urges. The first thing is colouring. Now I absolutely love colouring. I have about 4 colouring books over there, and I have about 6 more back in Essex. And I have my colouring pens with me here. I absolutely love it. I find it really therapeutic. I find it really ritualistic, and it's distracting because you'll often find that with self-harm urges, they come in waves of about 15 minutes. So the main thing with self-harm alternatives is distraction. So if you can get through this next 5, 10, 15 minutes, and you can get over that time, you can get through that time, then I'm not saying you're fixed. I'm saying that taking it step by step and just distracting yourself for the next 5 minutes or the next 10 minutes or the next however long you feel that you need distraction for. So I find that's the most helpful for me, is just taking my mind off it, because if I just sit there and let my mind wander, then it kind of makes things a lot worse. So distraction. So would that be, so for me it's colouring, talking to a friend, so messaging someone or phoning a helpline, or texting a helpline. So there's a lot of free text lines that you can get, and even if it's not a medical professional, even if it's just like a friend that you trust, because A, you're talking to friends, so enjoyable, and B, it's therapeutic for you and also therapeutic for them, and it's a distraction task. I mean, even if you're not talking about your problems, even if you're just talking about llamas, or like, I don't know, the guy that you saw on the bus the other day, or something as abstract as that, it's still a distraction task, and it's still kind of enjoyable as well. And the last thing I want to talk about, which I am obsessed with at the moment, is going for walks. I especially love nighttime walks, which, depending on where you live, depends on how safe that is. But again, just going for a walk, because fresh air in your lungs, it's nice to get out. It certainly helps my mood, and it's nice to just see the nature and take a walk, especially at night, when there's not many people around, and the sky is pretty. Nature is so beautiful. I mean, there's so much to go and see in the world. So I think going for a walk, I mean, I often put my music on. I have a comfort album that I always listen to whenever I'm sad, which is Jack Johnson, In Between Dreams. I really recommend it because it is so chill. I absolutely love it. So whenever I get sad, I put on Jack Johnson because he is my comfort artist and he is amazing. So yeah, so I'll go for a walk and I'll listen to him, and it's absolutely amazing. Nice little distraction, gets me out of the house and makes me feel productive, and it gets me out of the environment that is making me so stressed. I hope you guys found that video useful. I hope it wasn't too long and drawn out. There's so much that I want to say about this topic, but fitting it into like a 10-minute video is very hard. So there will be more videos on this topic to come, as I kind of try and put boom to the stigma, and spread awareness and hopefully help you guys, because that's what I want to do here. That is kind of my aim with the channel, is to spread happiness and awareness and talk about things that really shouldn't be taboo in today's society, one video at a time. And also guinea pigs. So that was everything. If you have any other video suggestions, please put them in the comments below. Please stay safe, please do not hurt yourself, please follow the rules, and I love you. See you next week.